There's a part about growing up that nobody talks about, and it's not your parents, it's not school, it's not any of the finance content that you watched online. It's a moment where everything that felt confusing about money and life in general just starts to make sense. It just kind of clicks. And what you do in the time leading up to that moment determines everything. And that's basically what this video is going to be about, guys. So if you're new to the channel, welcome to Ziggy Week, where we do these POVs talking about cars, money, and real life. And we're going to dive right into this topic. Growing up, there's going to be a moment, and it's usually somewhere between like your early 20s, your mid 20s, before you turn 30. And it's going to be that moment where everything just kind of clicks. Like, you're gonna stop waiting for somebody else to have to plan for you and start building stuff on your own. And it sounds simple, but I feel like it's actually a lot more bigger than people make it seem. Because up until this point, you're low-key being told how to do everything, from being raised by your parents to going to school. All these different structure types kind of keep you in line, and then one day that structure just isn't there anymore, and it's just gonna be you and the decisions that you make from there on. And honestly, the people who get through that transition the fastest are typically not the ones with the most money or the best jobs. They're just the ones that stopped waiting, the ones that took control. People that actually looked at their situation and started making decisions based off that. And sometimes it takes a while to get to that mental state. Something that actually helped me is being content with who I actually am and what I have. And let me explain what I mean by that. Because most people around you that look like they have it together, sometimes they don't. I don't mean that to come off negative or come off as a hater. Like, I just mean that the performance of being okay, it can be very convincing in your 20s. You look online, you see people going out, you see people buying things, looking like they're ahead of you, and then you start to feel like you're the only one left figuring it out, and you start to build this imaginary box around yourself. But when you look at the actual numbers, the amount of money people are throwing at their credit card bills or silly payments that people sign themselves up for, the picture starts to look a lot different. And honestly, a lot of people are just improvising. The difference between the ones who end up okay and the ones who don't, it's not that some people had it easier. It's just that some people just stop comparing themselves to others and just focus on what they actually have and what they can make do with what they have. And honestly, that's a big part of being an adult. That's a big part of growing up, is realizing that not everybody has the same path in life. And that can be good and that can be bad. It depends on how you look at it. You know, a lot of people just weep and moan, and they think about how people have a silver spoon and how they were born with all these things against them. Don't get it wrong, that does affect you and your trajectory in life, but at some point you have to take control of your life. It's either you die trying or you die with the limitation that you set for yourself. So the sooner you break out of that habit and start thinking about what you can do with what you actually have, the faster you're gonna get through this little roadblock. Like, once I stopped measuring myself against everybody else and started measuring myself against where I was 6 months ago, everything slowly got clearer. Like, your progress doesn't have to look like anybody else's. It just has to happen. It just has to be real. And I just wanted to say something that I think people need to hear. If you're in your 20s and money feels tight, even though you're doing everything right, you're working extra shifts, you're doing everything possible to put yourself in the best situation, that's not really a problem. You know what I mean? Rent is through the roof. Cars cost more than they ever have, and wages aren't keeping up. Like, you're not just the only person thinking the same thing. The gap between what things cost and what you make it, you have a lot more control over that than it really feels like. And it's not by making more money overnight, because that's not always an option. That's not always a possibility you can make happen. It's by controlling what goes out, by making the decisions that fix the costs that will eventually create breathing room for you instead of pressure. And this can be a variety of things. It could be driving a used car versus getting a car payment. It can be downsizing from a $2,000 a month apartment to then going to a less desirable neighborhood and paying $1,000 a month. You can free up cash in multiple ways. It's just a matter of what you're willing to sacrifice to make your situation better until you can get what you want. You know, it's not exciting, it's not the best thing to do, but in a lot of cases, the most boring thing to do is gonna be the most effective. And although, you know, who doesn't want to live a good life? Who doesn't want to splurge? You have to think in advance, I guess, and that's one thing that will set you apart versus the rest of the crowd. How quick are you able to sacrifice your today today for a better tomorrow. And nobody makes this sound appealing, but it's honestly the most important thing that I could say in this video. You know, I already touched over it, but the unglamorous choices, the things like keeping an older car, living somewhere cheaper, saying no to going out, like those are not you falling behind. That's you just building something better for yourself. The goal that nobody really tells you what to want when you're younger is options. It's not stuff, it's options. The ability to take control and handle your life when something goes wrong without actually dipping into debt. The ability to leave a job that you hate because you have that financial cushion to then look for something better. That's what the boring choices eventually buy you. And once you have that feeling of the options that you've earned by making those boring choices, that feeling is gonna be more worth it than any car that you could finance or any purchase that could make you look like you're ahead on social media. And that's really what you have to understand. You gotta know what you're trading when you spend, knowing what you're building when you don't. Like, that's the game that we all have to play. And once you see what the boring steps get you, that sacrifice is gonna start to feel like an investment, like very soon, bro. And there's gonna be a season. And I think a lot of people that are watching this video are in that season right now, where it feels like you're doing everything right and nothing is working out. And I understand, like, you're saving a little, you're paying your bills, you're not making mistakes, you're not eating out all the time, and you still feel behind because you're not visually seeing any progress right now. And I feel like nobody makes content for this reason, because it doesn't look like anything. Like, there's nothing to describe it as. Nothing, like literally nothing is happening. But the habits you build when nothing feels exciting, you know, the decisions you make when nobody is watching, when there's nothing to show off about, the choice to keep on going, to keep on pushing when it feels like it would be so much easier to just stop and give up. That's what you need to do, because something is gonna shift. Eventually, something subtle is gonna shift, and it's not gonna be something dramatic that you just see outright. It's gonna be a bill that comes up and you're just able to take care of it. Or you look at your account and you feel something different than it used to make you feel. And that's the other side. That is the payoff to all that struggling. And the only way to get there is straight through that season of feeling like you're doing nothing that you're in right now. Like, you're not stuck, you're just in a part that isn't glamorous, that isn't something to show off about. And guys, for all y'all that are watching this, I don't know exactly where you are right now. Like, maybe you're 22 and just starting to feel the weight of this, or maybe you're higher in your 20s, you're 28, and you're wondering why it's taking longer than you thought it would. Either way, I just want to tell you this right now. The fact that you're here, the fact that you're thinking about this stuff, that already separates you from most people who just let it happen to them and don't build a plan in the background. Like, the part nobody talks about isn't a warning. It's just where everything really gets decided. That's where you build your foundation. You're either deciding right now whether you know it or not. So make sure you make the good decisions. Think about yourself in the future and not just thinking about yourself now. And guys, for those who made it this far, thank you for watching. Make sure you buy TSX and travel, y'all. Drop a comment and let me know which part of this video actually stood out to you and highlight it down in the comments below. I'll catch y'all in the next one, y'all. Be safe out there. Drive safe. Good luck in life, because we all living for the first time. And catch y'all next one, guys. Peace.